You throw over $1,000 a month into local wishing wells.
Of course, you idiot, because I'm wishing for more money.
This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steindler.
All right, welcome back to Keeping Your Money Show. Jamie Westenbarger, joined as always by Bart Steindler. Just tuning in, we talked about the Equifax data breach and some things that might be important for you to know, namely why taking the $125 might not be that great of an idea. Also discussed company share buybacks and the Federal Reserve lowering rates again, and what does that really mean long term, especially for dividend payers and people who rely on dividend payers, and where those dividends are going to be coming from in the near future. If you missed any part of the show, you can always find it on our website. Go to keepingyourmoney.com. You can also find it on all of our podcast partners, which are all those favorite podcasts I'm sure you already listen to: iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Spotify. If you ever want a second opinion, maybe you need a first opinion, give us a call. Our toll-free number is 888-98-MONEY. That's 888-986-6639. So when people don't have financial advisors, or they don't have time to do their own research, or they don't know what to do, many times, unfortunately, they turn to publications. There's a number of them that come out monthly with nice glossy pictures about the 7 stocks everyone should own and all these other things. We also regularly see articles in national papers about this strategy is foolproof, or do this if you want to retire, or whatever. And, the majority of those have some points in them that could be useful, but they simplify the process so much that I think a lot of times for people, if you just follow it blindly and you don't think about your own personal situation, it can be very difficult for that to work out well, and it could very well work out very poorly for you.
I notice when I'm traveling and I'm in an airport, I go to the newsstand magazine part of the airport. Mm-hmm. They've got a ton of those types of magazines there.
Oh, absolutely.
And one of the issues I always have with it says the 7 stocks to own this year.
Right.
Okay. So you buy the article and it says, you read that and say, okay, I'm going to buy those 7 stocks. He goes, well, when should you sell them?
Right.
You got to keep buying that magazine. Do you think that magazine's going to come out and say, okay, now it's time to sell the 3 of the 7 stocks that we told you to buy in January?
Well, it's the same thing like when we talk about these guests that are on these radio and television programs. They'll say, Bob successfully, predicted the crash of 2008. They don't talk about how he was wrong for the next 10 years, or how he was wrong the 10 years before that, or they'll say, last time on, you told us about this stock. It's up 87% since you were on here. They failed to mention a month earlier he was on, mention another stock that went bankrupt in the meantime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can even go, there's some big names out there that do stock picking. They throw stocks out every night on their television show or radio show or whatever. But if you go back and you track, some of those have been horrendous. They don't ever talk about those. Mm-hmm. They never talk about those.
No.
So this article breaks it down to 2 things.
That's all you need, huh? 2 things.
Now, I'm going to say, at a very base level, I don't necessarily disagree with either one of these things. I disagree that that's all you have to do, because one of the most valuable things that a financial advisor brings to the equation for a client is they are the voice of reason in the middle of a storm. And what you just said earlier is a perfect example of that, Bart. I know what to buy, but now what do I do when I want to sell? Or how do I know when to sell, right? And I think a perfect example is, even if you were in a 50-50 portfolio, 50% stocks, 50% bonds, that's a pretty conservative portfolio for an average person heading into retirement. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's what you should do. Everyone is different. I'm just using it as an example. In 2008, you would have lost about 17 to 19%, depending on exactly how you had it blended. So you would have done much better than people who were maybe more heavily involved in stocks. The question is, if you're retired and you have $500,000 and you lost almost $100,000 of that, are you really disciplined enough to not do anything about that? To really sit tight? Because that's what all the experts say. Just sit tight, right? I don't think the average person is disciplined enough to do that. And that's where financial advisors can come in not only to help you maybe avoid some of that loss in the first place, but also to be talking to you through this. Here's what's going on. Here's why we think, we're in a good position. Here's what we're going to do next year for your income. Like, these are ongoing kind of situations. And I kind of equate it to, if I went to Walgreens and I got my blood pressure taken in their little automatic machine and it said it was high, okay? I know there are blood pressure medicines and mine's high, so I should go take one. So if I just went to Walgreens and got a blood pressure medicine, which of course you can't, but if you could, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden in the middle of the night, I'm having heart palpitations, I'm not feeling good, I'm cold sweating, right? I would want to talk to my doctor, but I had chosen to not be involved with a doctor in this process. So now I would have to go to an emergency room where basically it's all up in the air, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're just a number at that point in time.
They're drawing straws on who's going to take care of you.
Right. Whereas had I gone to my doctor, he had given me that medicine. I woke up not feeling well, cold sweats. I called the emergency number. My doctor would call me back. He would say, you know what? That's a common side effect. Sometimes stop taking the medicine. I think you're going to be fine. Come see me first thing in the morning in my office and we'll get you on something different, right?
Yes.
Because that's what you're looking for. Well, financial advisors do very similar things. You can go and buy a lot of investments that you'll find from a financial advisor just about anywhere. Mm-hmm. But in the middle of the night, when the market's down 1,000 points and you're having cold sweats and you call that 800 number to talk to this humongous conglomerate that has trillions of dollars of assets, you're a number to them. You're nobody. Sure, the guy on the phone will talk to you. I mean, he has probably like 2 years of experience, so he has all kinds of knowledge to share.
Because he's been fed talking points, and so when you call, you're going to get the talking points that he's been fed.
Right.
Right. And it's not only, your investments, but the other things that financial advisors get into when they have these discussions with you. For instance, somebody calls up and they fell in love with this car they want to buy, and it's over their budget, mm-hmm. and they call you and talk to you about it, and they say, I just saw this car, I really, really like it, and I do need a new car. Is this too much to spend? Well, in the particular case I'm thinking about, yeah, it was. And, we made some suggestions on other cars to go look at and things like that. But, you can have the opportunity to stop people from making mistakes that are going to have long-term effects on their ability to have that income for a long period of time.
Sure.
Because if you spend it, it's not going to create income.
Well, and then so this article goes on to say the two things that you need to do to not run out of money are delay Social Security benefits to age 70 and simply use your RMD rules for taking money out of your investments, okay? Mm-hmm. Well, the first thing that we have to establish based on this article is they're saying no one should retire until 70. Because if you're waiting until 70 and a half for RMDs and you're waiting to 70 for Social Security, clearly they're saying you should be waiting till 70 to retire. We've talked about a number of times on this show. A lot of times people want to do that.
Not always an option.
Other situations dictate otherwise. So,
what about if you have a meeting with your employer when you're 60 and they say, you know what, we're cutting back and we're sorry, but we've enjoyed your company, but this is the end. So then how's that going to work out that you're going to retire at 70?
Right. The other thing that this talks about is the idea that basically Social Security could handle your everyday essentials. That's not something I regularly see.
No.
I mean, that's taking very, very large liberties in assuming that what people get in Social Security is enough to cover their bills.
Nor is it meant to be.
No. But I mean, they take that as a huge part of this way you never run out of money, is that basically Social Security is all you have to get. The investments you've saved are just gravy. I might know a handful of people that's true about.
That's kind of like the same mindset of saying, you should be able to make enough money at a fast food job to be able to support your family of four.
Right. Never supposed to be that.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess my biggest thing is when you look at articles like this, it's kind of like, and I'm not trying to beat up on USA Today because they all do it, okay? But remember, they're trying to sell newspapers. They're trying to sell magazines. They're trying to get you to watch their television programs. That's done with good marketing. Good marketing is, we've got the answer. It's right here. It's on these 2 pages. You read it, You'll know everything you need to know.
Right. It's a little more complicated than something that you can, than an article that you can read in 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, I liken it to late night infomercials. Okay. If you've ever been up on a Saturday and you're staying up a little bit later than you should, and the air fryer comes on, and you're like, that looks amazing.
I think Jamie's partaking in a lot of these commercials lately.
Just saying. You're like, that looks amazing. I should get one of those. And then 2 years later, when it's in your cabinet and it's hardly ever used, you feel a sense of remorse.
What was this thing?
It's called an air fryer. Have you never seen one?
No,
I'm actually ripping on the air fryer, but it's pretty sweet looking. I haven't bought one yet, but it's because I think it'll end up in a cabinet somewhere in my kitchen. But my point is, you're going to have similar. I mean, if you have that kind of remorse from something as simple as an air fryer, you're going to have a lot more when it comes to something as complex about your retirement. By simply reading a newspaper article, you're not going to figure it all out.
Right.
It's not a Rubik's Cube that gets figured out like, boop, it's done. You know, I mean, it's much more complicated than that. I mean, when they talk about in this article about taking RMDs fluctuate every year based on market performance, your age, all of these other factors. If you need that to live with your Social Security combined, you really can't have that kind of fluctuation. That's not something you can handle. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense. If you don't have an income distribution plan for your retirement, stop looking at newspapers, stop listening to radio shows about it. I mean, ours is awesome, but I'm just saying.
The other ones we're talking about.
Call a financial planner, for goodness sakes, and sit down and figure out something. We're happy to help. You can reach us at 888-98-MONEY. That's 888-986-6639. All right, coming up, here's where you can retire on just $30,000 a year outside of the United States, where, I don't know, maybe that Social Security will be enough, right here on the Keeping Your Money Show.
It's never too late to plan for your future, and the Keeping Your Money Show can help. Our team of advisors can answer questions you may have about investing your money. Through Securities America, Inc., our advisors offer a diversified and comprehensive list of quality products and services. Call the Keeping Your Money Show at 1-888-98-MONEY or visit keepingyourmoney.com to schedule your free consultation.